Beautiful leadership is a way of being in the world that honors why you are truly here and what is possible. This is the leadership of now, of soul, of feeling into what this future calls forth in us, and in bringing yourself into alignment with this vision so that you can embody it in this world in small and perhaps big ways. This is the time not to be a follower, but to dive deep into the gifts of your intuition and bring what is in your heart alive with courage and grace. Consider it more as becoming a leader of your own life, living with intentionality and the beauty of your soul. This creates ripples. We need you. This is our time. Hello and welcome to The Future is Beautiful. It is gorgeous to be back with you after our rest. Perhaps you saw our beautiful post on social media with a quote from the NAP ministry, which said, "Rest is a beautiful interruption in a world that has no pause button." And so here we are, opening slowly, gently back up, taking stock of the limitations and the opportunities of this moment. And for many of us around the world, we are being asked to dig perhaps deeper than we did last year, without the innocence of the first lockdown, and in the UK without the warm spring air. As I was feeling into what might serve you in this moment, what came to me was to open space to explore the way of beauty and how we can choose our perspective at this moment and always. And so the first part of this episode is me sharing a little bit about how we live in the way of beauty and why we bother. Beauty has the power to move us, to stop us in our tracks, to transform us. Beauty is deep and layered. Beauty invites us into a space of possibility, creativity, and imagination. Beauty allows us to notice where we are, where we have been, and where we might go. Beauty embraces complexity and the paradox of our humanity. Beauty cracks us open, captivates us, and brings us to grace. Beauty connects us to the transcendent nature of our soul. Beauty loves the messiness, the process, the awkwardness, the imperfections. Beauty invites a recognition of the sacred and our interconnectedness. Beauty opens pathways to divine receptivity with the more than human world. Beauty connects us to the power of our dreams. Beauty sustains us through our challenges and regenerates us. Beauty does not ask for certainty. Beauty leads to wise decisions. Beauty is a path of intention. Beauty is an offering. Beauty is a whole approach to life. Then later in the episode, we have some words from some of the recent graduates of the first beautiful leadership immersion. We shared a lot about this in episode 103 when Annegret interviewed me. If you want to give that another listen, or maybe a listen if you're newer to the podcast. And just before the solstice, the group completed this 13-week adventure. It was powerful and profound and such an incredible joy to witness and hold. And so we are now opening up to another round, which will begin on January the 20th. You can do the immersion alone or with one-to-one presence mentoring with me. Enrollment has opened today, and you have until the 18th of January or until we are full to register if this calls to you. We're offering it on a sliding scale, and it's deep, multidimensional, and looks at leadership from a different paradigm. We have 7 core modules where I offer a workshop on these themes. They are redefining leadership and worth, shadows, trauma and liberation, sacred activism and decolonization, embodiment and biohacking, vision, intuition and edge walking, creativity, cultural futurism and flow consciousness. And we close with collaboration and community. In a way, these are the main themes or the main essences of The Future is Beautiful and everything that this community is all about bringing into the world. Along the way, you receive other inspirations and missions, which nudge you to bring the tools and the learnings from the immersion into the world, into your local environment. We then have a wonderful guest faculty of teachers from this very podcast. These include Swati Martin on sacred leadership, Nina Simons on facing shadows, Tiuda Han on engineering serendipity, and Sally Kempton on leading with soul. There are community sessions and other ways to connect, and will likely include some immersion happenings in this season too. It is 13 weeks, which means from January the 20th until the 14th of April. And if you want to go deeper into clearing your own subconscious patterns and awakening your own gifts, new ways of being, and intuition, you can do this alongside Presence Leadership Mentoring, where we will have one-to-one sessions along the way. I literally have 2 spots left for that, so do get in touch if you want to be part of this season. I actually first wanted to offer the Beautiful Leadership Immersion as a support for my one-to-one program, as a way that could really root my clients in going deeper. Sometimes clients would ask for book recommendations, and I didn't have the right ones to offer, as so much of what I've learned has been through teachers, transmissions, and words or realizations. The immersion has now evolved into its own being, as these things do, and it's powerful. I really enjoyed the experience of both the group space and the one-to-one space, and how that opened more depth and possibility for everyone. If you want to find out more about this, simply head to our website, www.thefutureisbeautiful.co, and click on courses. And I have 2 more invitations for you to start this year. The first is that next week's episode will include a Q&A. So if you have a question that you would like to ask me about the podcast, my book, or anything at all, write in with your question, and I will answer a selection of these in the show. Email it to connect@thefutureisbeautiful.co. We have a giveaway for you as well. My friend and guest from episode 64 on alchemy, plant consciousness, and vibrational medicine, Gemma Foster, has written a beautiful and powerful book on sacred geometry. She has made a sacred geometry kit, which includes the book and other gifts. You can go to my personal Instagram @Amisha Ghadiali and find the post with details that I put around what the kit is and what the book is. And that was posted around the solstice, as we did a giveaway there too. We would like to gift one of these sets, and then to another person, a signed and dedicated copy of my book, Intuition. By dedicated, I mean that I will tune into you and write what you may need to hear in this note, so it will be personal. In order to win these gifts, all you have to do is an Apple Podcast review of this podcast, because these really, really help other people to find the show. And you basically do your review and then send us a screen grab of it. You can email that to connect@thefutureisbeautiful.co. And then we will put your name in a hat and draw the winners next week on the 12th of January. Thank you for all your kind words about my book. I am so pleased to hear that you are enjoying it. It's now out in the UK and Australia. For the US and Canada, you can pre-order it and you will get it on the 19th of January. Early sales and pre-orders are so important for authors, and so I really appreciate any support that you can offer in that way. And I know many of you bought multiple copies of the book and gave them to your friends and family over the holidays, or plan to do so. And so, yeah, really just deep gratitude for this. And I'm really happy to hear that the book is serving you. And there's been some really incredible messages of what is happening for people in relationship to their trust of their intuition as they read this book. And so if you don't know about the book, it's called Intuition, access your inner wisdom, trust your instincts, find your path. And it's published by DK Books. And you can find it if you go to www.amisha.co.uk/intuition. You'll find all the links of where you can get it, including how to buy it in a way that supports local bookstores. And you can also register if you've bought a copy and get a gift package for supporting the book. And that's got some great workshops, including one that I made in the treehouse earlier on in the first lockdown of 2020 when I was writing the book, which is a guide to your intuition. And I share some of my favorite practices from the book in that workshop. You'll also get the video from the book launch that we did, which has some beautiful musicians sharing. You'll get the PDF of the extra chapter, which is more personal, where I share more of my story, which is available on the audio edition, but I'll share that with you, and some other gifts. And so, yeah, go to www.amisha.co.uk/intuition for all of that. And if you want to win a personally dedicated book and the Sacred Geometry kit, all you have to do is do a review on Apple Podcasts. You can do that through your app, or you can do that through your computer, through iTunes, and then send us a screen grab to connect@thefutureisbeautiful.co. I look forward to hearing from you with your questions and to what this year might bring us and what we might co-create in this year. I hope that you enjoy this episode, which we have called The Way of Beauty, where we explore the question, what power does beauty have in shaping our world? Welcome to The Future is Beautiful, with me, your host, Amisha Ghadiali. On this show, we explore the weave between politics, spirituality, creativity, and sustainability. It's time for us to move beyond silos and into an integrated way of being. Every one of us has ideas and personal experiences to share that can lead us to a brighter future. This is the revolution. Despite the challenges we face as a global community or the pressures that we meet in our daily lives, when we stop and dare to dream, to ask ourselves the big questions and to share what we are already doing, we create the future that we wish to wake up for. That future is beautiful. We're here today to explore the way of beauty. This is something that has, in many ways, been very close to my heart, but at the same time, when I named the podcast The Future is Beautiful, I didn't exactly know what I was getting myself in for, that the concept of beauty could inspire so much cynicism in this world, and that the word beauty has been turned into something that it's not. It's been turned into this kind of notion of perfection, which is often associated with a white supremacist notion of what beauty is and who is beautiful and what that means. Somebody invited me to speak at an event recently, and in their email they said, my mantra is, beauty begins where perfection ends. I found that really moving, that what really is beautiful exists way beyond the perfection, or this notion of perfection, which always comes from a mind state rather than an embodied heart conscious state, which is able to embrace the complexity of our time and the way in which something that's beautiful doesn't have to be good. Even these notions of good and bad are notions that can get us a bit stuck because they're judgments, really. And when I really feel into beauty, there's two aspects that come up for me. And one is around possibility and aliveness. And another is around intentionality.
and the way in which we show up to something. With this sense of possibility and aliveness, when you take a notion like the future is beautiful, and we know that we're in a time, but I don't know if there's ever been a time where there haven't been big challenges that people have faced, where there haven't been people who are oppressed, where there haven't been lack of resources. But this is a very particular time that we're in right now. It can be easy to get depressed and downtrodden in terms of what's possible to create, and whether anything that we do is of relevance and is of importance, and whether talking about something like beauty is missing what we could be focusing on, or where things are difficult. Where I feel we can understand this notion of the future is beautiful is that if we're here and if we're alive and if we're part of this future, and if our children and our grandchildren are going to be part of this future, then of course it's going to be beautiful, because that's what we do. We have this amazing innate capacity for connection, for beauty, for that honoring of each other. When we say, life is beautiful, the future is beautiful, a lot of people always tell me that the podcast is called Life is Beautiful. It always just makes me smile that that's how it gets translated in people's subconscious, like in their memory. They're like, oh yeah, I love your podcast, Life is Beautiful. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is beautiful. Great. And so it's that reminder that life is worthwhile, that no matter the challenges, the grief, the anger, the depression, the frustration, the destruction, the hate that we might experience, within all of that, there is something worthwhile that is guiding us, that is allowing us to get up again and to show up again, and to keep our eyes on sometimes solutions and sometimes just a different perspective. When we can take this approach to life and to all of our endeavors, to the way that we show up in the world, we are able to, through every part of our experience, we're able to create more of this beauty in the world. We're able to inspire it in others. We're able to bring more joy and delight. And we're able to stay connected to our own inspiration, to that part of ourselves that motivates us. And that's very, very, very important in a world that can often be cynical and overwhelming and distracting, that there's so many distractions that are constantly wanting us to look outside of ourselves. Whereas when we're able to just like really tap in, and again, it comes back to presence, like to be able to come into a sense of presence with ourselves, then we're able to tune into what's possible and therefore what's beautiful. We play a little game, and you can close your eyes if you like. You can imagine kind of waking up and looking towards your bedside table, and there's like a mug from your cup of tea yesterday that's getting a bit moldy. You just fall out of bed and you don't bother having a shower. You go into your kitchen and it's such a mess that you can't be bothered to like make yourself something. And so you just, put some cereal into like a mug and get a spoon and then rush out of the door to wherever you've got to be. And you're in this space where it's like, there's like that heaviness and that cynicism about like what this day and what this life's all about. And so as you're walking around, you just notice just kind of the mess and the darkness around you. And you find yourself in this really reactive state to anything that comes towards you. Anyway, you get the message. So let's like rewind that And imagine instead that you wake up. Maybe you reach for your journal and you write down something from your dreams. And you sit and take a few deep breaths and connect into your intentions for the day. Get some hot water with lemon. You do a little bit of movement. You sit and meditate. You walk into your sparkling kitchen where there's lots of fruit and veg out. And so you make yourself a nice smoothie. Maybe get some protein. And then you walk outside. You have your shower, get ready, put on like clothes that you like, that you feel good in. And then you walk outside, and the first thing you notice is the color of the sky. It's beautiful. And it invokes in you this feeling of how precious and wonderful this life is. And then you keep walking about your day. And you see a few people walking towards you, and you smile, and they smile back. And if they're wearing masks, you can see it with their eyes. And then you walk past this wall, and you notice that there are all these hearts drawn on the wall. There's this really inspiring quote that fills your heart with possibility. And then as you continue your journey, you open up to just receiving some ideas, and then you get like a really lovely bit of inspiration about something that you want to create. And that feeds a sense of what's possible inside of you. And from that sense of possibility, you remember your worth. You remember what's possible for you. You remember why you're here. You can open your eyes. Just a little graphic example of the different ways that we can approach life. And of course, there's so many in between. But I know that when I am lazy and I just sort of roll out of bed and I don't take care of the small things, that it really affects my ability to show up for the bigger things. And it's not to say that if you do your practices, whatever they are, that you'll always feel good, because for sure you'll still, have your internal weather system. You'll still feel sad, and you'll still feel angry, and you'll still feel grief. But it will affect you in a different way, where you'll be able to recognize the beauty in that scale of your emotionality, that also connects you deeper to being a human. And so with this intentionality, there are many different ways that we can bring that into our lives. And for me, I find that yoga like really, really does that for me. it just really has a way of connecting me to that part of myself. And it might for you, or there might be other things. I also find that dancing and singing does that, and meditation does that. And also really connecting to intentions and remembering this life as a prayer. And that prayer doesn't even mean that you have to believe in God or any kind of religion or any particular type of spirituality, but it means that you stay connected to the beauty of the interconnection of this world, of the ways in which everything weaves together, that you're able to show up in your heart with that sense of gratitude and that sense of possibility. And what I have found is the more that I feed that, the more that it feeds me. We're able to live in sacred reciprocity with the notion of beauty itself. And so when we're tuned into beauty as a perspective, as a mindset, or a heart set, or an embodiment, which is even more if we can have it all connected, then it shifts the decisions that we make, and it shifts the way that we spend our time and what we focus on. And we're able to ask bigger questions of ourselves. And so this can be translated however you like into whatever questions make sense for you. But a simple question could be, is this the most beautiful way of doing this? If you have a business or a project and you're trying to incorporate sustainability, regeneration, different ways of thinking, when you take it back to beauty, because beauty has this kind of everlasting aspect, it's another way in of connecting yourself to what's possible, and the way in which you can look at and explore the choices that you're making. And so this applies to your work and the decisions that you make there. And it applies to your home, to your physical space. And it applies to the way in which you treat yourself. To fully allow yourself to be in relationship with the part of you that is beautiful, to acknowledge the beauty that you are, to acknowledge everything that it took for you to incarnate, for you to be born, of your parents, of your grandparents, and so on and so on and so on. And to be able to connect to that beauty of your soul, of what it is that your soul wants to weave, of what it is of your soul that wants to shine. Because we didn't come here to be stuck in our egos and stuck in fear and trying to fit into a notion of who we should be, to not make other people feel uncomfortable, or to not rock any boats. Like, we've all come here with something very unique and beautiful that is ours, that is our essence, that is of us, that we are of. And so what is it to live in a way where this is the part of ourselves that we honor the most, that we give the most attention to, that we cultivate the relationship with the most?
Hello. We're taking a short pause from the conversation. On behalf of our team and our community, thank you for being here and co-creating The Future is Beautiful. Much dedication, love, and time goes into the production of this show. We believe in being advertising free in a world that's always trying to sell us stuff we don't need. And so we make this show with you and for you, thanks to your support. There are 3 ways you can be more involved, so we can share the vision, wisdom, and creativity here as we explore what it means to be a human in this time. You can support the podcast by sharing it with your friends, posting episodes on social media, and doing iTunes reviews. You can support as a patron by making a monthly or one-off donation of your choice. And with this, you join the global patrons group and monthly video calls where we share connection and insight. You get to know the other amazing patrons from around the world, their stories and their work, and you offer direct support to me and the team, as well as being brought into the behind the scenes of creating something like this. It sounds like a lot, but it's as much or as little as you want to get involved in. You can become a member of Presence, our membership collective of care and practice, where we explore how to embody the themes of the podcast with workshops, calls, special events, tree whispers, and powerful tools, practices, and rituals that you can bring into your life. This is open to absolutely everybody as we create an inclusive and diverse space that celebrates well-being as a human right, where we explore together what it means to be creative, courageous, and connected to ourselves, each other, and the earth. This is about embodying sacred activism. We love meeting patrons and Presence members and how being part in this way weaves our lives together as well as making this show possible. If anything from this conversation has moved or inspired you, please get more involved. All information can be found at www.thefutureisbeautiful.co/community. This show really can't go on without your patronage and Presence membership, so please do make it happen. And now, back to the conversation.
Hello, my name's Jessica. I live in Bristol, UK, and I run my own climate consultancy called 12. I've just completed Amisha's beautiful leadership immersion. First time I heard it on the Future is Beautiful podcast, and it immediately piqued my interest. There's something really about it that drew me in, and that was to do with the heart-led version of leadership, which I believe is lacking in the world today and which we need more of to be able to bring in that beautiful future. And that is what Amisha does so well with a lot of her work. So I was immediately drawn to it. I help businesses become more sustainable. I help them take climate action, that kind of thing. I love my work. It's incredibly fulfilling and very purpose-driven. But some of the conversations that I have with the people that I work with about environment and nature and sustainability, sometimes there's a piece missing. And that piece, I think, is often this feeling of heart. It's something that's drawn me into doing a lot more work with nature. So I've also been trained to do nature facilitation. And so this beautiful leadership immersion really felt like a really great way to explore those new paradigms of leadership that we require to bring in that beautiful future that we all want and that we all know is out there and is possible. So you're probably thinking, well, am I a leader? As we discovered on the immersion, this is not about the traditional archetypes of leadership. It's not about leaders walking around in big business suits and making important decisions, although it could be that. It's more about people who are really understanding themselves, what drives them, what motivates them, and how to embody their true authentic selves and show up in the world. Be authentic. And that is leadership. That is what leadership is. It's about not dancing to other people's tune. It's dancing to your own tune. And what this immersion does is it really gives you the tools to be able to find out what that is for yourself. It's this beautiful, intricate, spacious exploration of so many different ideas, many of which are kind of ideas that I've thought about before or have kind of been on the periphery, but being given the chance to dive in. So we talked about what a leader is, what sacred leadership is, the difference between being a servant leader and a sacred leader. And a sacred leader is one that's connected with others, connected with self, and connected with nature. And that really resonated with me. That's just one aspect of it. We also went into really deep shadow work, which is incredibly helpful to help you understand what are your shadows, what are the things that you often hide from the light, and how can you bring them forward and to see them and to understand them and how they drive you and how they impact your behaviors and your thoughts. And it's incredibly powerful to do that. And I don't think I'd ever sat down and done that and realized that there were traumas in my life that to be resolved. And then bringing in lots of new ideas of how to live more intentionally, more consciously, starting from setting up daily rituals for well-being through to exploring different aspects of things like biohacking, which was such a fun exploration. So if you're wondering if you should do it, yes, the answer is yes, you should. And I really hope you enjoy the journey as much as I did. And I know this is just something that is going to keep being a treasure trove of resources that I can keep coming back to again and again. And I'm really excited to start 2021 on this foot. So thank you, Amisha. Thank you all the wonderful guest speakers that you brought on. Blessings. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chris. I work for a small charity working with young people based on a farm in Herefordshire. I've definitely been more focused and conscious about my emotional and spiritual development. Yeah, I've seen a real sort of acceleration in the shifts happening through 2020, being furloughed for quite a long time, opened up a lot of space for self-reflection. And yeah, the beautiful leadership immersion has been like a rich thread in this whole process during the latter part of the year. Amisha has obviously put a huge amount of thought and effort into creating this immersion. The themes are very carefully chosen, or really spot on. Together they create this really rich store of wisdom and a kind of ecology of skills and practices that we can develop in order to lead more beautifully. I often found Amisha's sessions really powerful. She has a way of speaking from the heart without very little preparation. It's very intuitive and yet incredibly clear and coherent. And what comes through really seems to work on a deeper level than just the intellect. I found myself having some quite strong reactions, either having very vivid dreams after one of her sessions or some really strong sensations or imagery coming up. Yeah, I can really feel something going on, something shifting in those sessions. The guest masterclasses bring together a wonderful diversity of different speakers, all with a huge amount of wisdom and insights and warmth to share. There's a lot in there, and it's definitely a resource you'll want to keep going back to long after the course has ended. It's definitely helped me deepen and strengthen my daily practice. It's kind of opened up a deeper connection to my subconscious, to my intuition. I feel like I've sort of been guided to listen more closely to information that our bodies or that comes to us from places beyond the busy mind. It's quite a profound thing to be feeling. It's also shown me what more I might have to offer, and also that the process of revealing that and embracing it doesn't need to be an ordeal, that it can be playful, creative, spontaneous. It can be beautiful, and probably some hard work as well, but I'm all for that too. So yeah, it's been a really, really nourishing experience, really lovely community, met some really nice people across Zoom along the way. I would thoroughly recommend it. And I really feel like I've got value for money. It's been really enriching. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Jill, a business psychologist in London who works with organizations helping them put the human back at the heart of business. The beautiful leadership immersion just brought me incredible clarity about who I want to choose to be and the work that I want to do in order to contribute more to our world. Working with Amisha and the group helped me deeply reconnect with what matters most to me, my inner voice, and grow the confidence to be so much bolder in my work. Over the course of the program, it felt as though I was sort of shedding layers upon layers, letting go of everything that was holding me back, mainly my fears, my old emotions, and some of my beliefs. I now feel truly ready to move towards a much more hopeful future.
Hi, I'm Maxi. I am an artist. This course was transformative. It was amazing. I loved that it was over such a long period of time. Looking back on it, I didn't know what to expect, and it wasn't what I expected at all. But it was a real immersion, and it was really transformational to go alongside so many leaders and inspirational people to hear like their most deeply felt life advice. Really, it was like a lot of what people had really learnt as important, and a lot of people's stories. It was beautiful, but to have that alongside my own life, which was a really tumultuous time for me, actually. In the end, I was moving all over the place. I was starting a business. I had a lot of very difficult things in relationships come up. Alongside it was this course about leadership, which was extremely significant as it kept on asking me not to view myself as a victim or just be like, oh my God, this is happening again. Like, how can I handle it? It was like, no, what can I learn from this? What is it showing me? How can I take the fruit of these lessons and transform them, and really to being active in my own life, which I'm so grateful for. It's been absolutely amazing. The teachings have been so profound. It's one of those things that once you say yes to, then your life and the course sort of mirror each other. A lot of stuff comes up, and like life imitates art or art imitates life. You don't know anymore. But it all happened with like a beautiful synchronicity, that things would be happening in my life that Amisha was sort of answering questions to. Or I remember around the trauma and Halloween, that was all very dark and deep. It's hard to explain, actually, because it was a very multi-layered experience, very multi-layered course. It had a lot of information in it, but also a lot of connection, and community was extremely beautiful. We're asked to sort of show up in a vulnerable way and introduce ourselves over the internet. I was totally in awe of everyone else on the course. They were such beautiful people, really courageous. Yeah, I've been very touched by the whole thing and everyone's participation in it. I was quite sad to see it go, but now without that structure, without that container, that's even more of the challenge. So I'm not letting go of the things I've learned and the material. I'm actually going over it again, and we formed like a little sister circle, and I met up with some people in real life the other day from the course, which was beautiful. So I don't know how to recommend this course. I still find it embarrassing to say I've just gone on like a really epic leadership program, because I feel judged in my life because I'm not quite a leader yet, but I am on my way. I've been inspired to join different communities, inspired to connect with people in a different way, and myself in a much more empowering way. So watch this space.
Hi, my name's George, and I am a writer and an activist. I live in Sussex, and I just recently finished the beautiful leadership immersion with Amisha. It has changed my life beyond measure, beyond any course. Quite rightly, it's not called a course. This is true immersion, and it is a full-on experience. Incredible experience. It's definitely been one of the best decisions I've ever made to do this course. It has opened my eyes to so much, and it has sharpened my vision and my self-awareness, which I already thought was quite good. I had so much more to learn. And not only that, I've really enjoyed it. Amisha manages to hold space so beautifully for such a variety of people and needs and experiences and lives. She's a natural teacher. She shines her light with such generosity and brilliance, and she shares so much, which makes the experience so helpful. Every workshop and every workshop speaker were impeccably chosen for what they could share. But it wasn't just that. It was Amisha's ability to draw out of them exactly what everybody on the course needed, because she knew what we all needed. She knew which of us needed help in which areas, and she was able to hold that and bring that to life in each session. It was quite incredible. And it's only when I go back now and rewatch some of those sessions that I see that in action. I think I'll be dipping into the workshops and the learnings that I've made for many years to come. Yeah, it's helped me sharpen my vision for certainly for 2021 and hopefully beyond. And I've made some very bold and brave steps since that course. And I also did the mentoring one-on-one sessions with Amisha, which I can't recommend any more highly. They were beautiful. They were gentle. The shifts you could feel happening during the session were seismic. She's helped me immeasurably to understand myself, my gifts, especially to help me understand where I'm standing in my own way. It was a game changer for me to work with someone who understands the industry and the world I've worked in before, but Amisha has the skills to apply that to every industry out there. And in her work, she's worked across every industry. She's a very special soul. I say it without any hesitation that it seems her wisdom is boundless. And that's, I think, down to the strength of her intuition. And she's also a lot of fun to work with. There were a lot of laughs during our course, our workshops, our sessions. It was just a beautiful experience that I will never forget. Enormous thanks to Amisha and her team. And yeah, it's something that will live with me and something that I intend to be part of for many years to come.
My name is Carrie, and I participated in the beautiful leadership immersion and the presence mentoring. Working with Amisha was an incredible experience. She is a wise and intuitive leader and with a gift for really seeing people and facilitating a community committed to being present in the world and to contributing positively with soul and grace. And through the leadership immersion, I was able to connect with this thoughtful community and to learn from Amisha and other leaders possessing deep generosity, clarity, and a commitment to really co-creating a beautiful future. The mentoring sessions are powerful and supportive experiences with very practical rituals and practices that help integrate the session insights and become more aware of and then clear the blocks that were preventing me from this deeper connection with myself. And overall, I've come from this immersion and mentorship feeling a much deeper alignment with my purpose and with greater self-worth and courage to really step into leadership with more clarity of vision that I didn't have before. And I've really felt my creativity just open up tremendously from what I've learned and how I've learned to better contribute to society and to contribute in my own way with more of this creativity, more of this intuition, and deeper, honest vision. So thank you, Amisha, for creating the mentorship and this beautiful immersion. It's very, very incredible.
Thank you for spending your precious time with us. As always, you can find links to everything we mentioned in this episode, download our book, and discover so much more over on the blog. We don't believe in selling you things you don't need through this podcast, and so it's made possible with you, our community. If you loved this and would like to fund our show with a monthly donation or join our online group to connect with other listeners, please visit www.thefutureisbeautiful.co and click on Community and Support. Please also share with friends, hit subscribe, and leave us a review so we can grow.
Those gold stars really help others find us, so these ideas can spread. Here is to us, creating a beautiful future together. The Future is Beautiful is made by an all-female team working voluntarily or on reduced rates until our listeners' support grows. If you have been moved by anything you heard here, please donate the equivalent of buying us a drink. All donations make a huge difference to us and will allow us to keep doing this and remain advertising free. Until next time, I leave you with this question: how will you create beauty in the world?